One Punch Man's latest chapter just dropped, and you guys, what an amazing chapter. Just when we think that the ongoing battle between Garou and Saitama can't possibly get more intense, they go ahead and up the ante yet again, until we're left wondering if there's anything left stopping them. How's it going, guys? FoulPlayz here, and today I'm going to be filling in for Slice of Otaku for this week's One Punch Man chapter. But if you guys are excited for this week's chapter, go ahead and smash that like button down below, and don't forget to ring that bell to keep up to date with the latest One Punch Man content. But anyways, let's get back to the chapter. As the chapter opens, Garou's nuclear attacks are starting to cause serious problems for the heroes on standby, particularly the children, with Waganma and Child Emperor passing out, unable to withstand the radiation. But some heroes are still standing firm, like Bang, who can sense that Garou isn't fully himself. Bang realizes that Garou is being controlled and shouts at whatever is possessing his former pupil to give him back. But Garou states that his actions are of course his own, while Blast arrives to back up Bang's belief in Garou being at least partially under God's influence. And for someone that's been hidden away for so much of the series, Blast sure does know how to make a dramatic entrance, bursting onto the scene. Blast is extremely worried about this development, pleading with Garou to stop him because his attacks are so powerful in this state that he could kill everyone. And guys, I don't think it's possible to overstate how insane this power-up is. Garou's always been a formidable foe, but thinking about the fact that he could split the planet in half with that kind of power honestly gives me chills. Anyways, Blast continues to try to reason with Garou, arguing that killing the entire planet doesn't line up with what he believes to be Garou's goals. For a moment, this seems to stop Garou in his tracks. Well, actually it really doesn't. But his goals have always been, in his own twisted way, to cure society of its ills. After a moment, Garou mockingly asks what he's supposed to do about this, and Blast suggests that he sends Garou to another dimension using his portal ability, because its cosmic radiation is lethal to humans, and even his very presence could kill a person. All the while, he assesses the situation, and decides that Garou still seems to have some sense of humanity left. Though Blast wonders what would have happened if Garou had actually accepted the full power that was offered to him. Not knowing if reasoning with Garou will get him anywhere, Blast prepares himself to wage a cosmic battle with Garou to determine which of them will come out on top. As Blast had feared, Garou doesn't seem to be willing to listen to his human side, gloating that he has become so powerful that he only needs to exist to be absolutely deadly. It's exactly the kind of effect that he wants to have on people as the symbol of fear, but it points back to something else interesting. It almost sounds like Garou doesn't want to have to hurt people himself. Not exactly what we would expect from the ultimate villain. But of course there are others who would still stand up to oppose Garou, and one of those is Bang, whose determination to stop his renegade pupil is absolutely unwavering. He then chastises Garou for his words, which of course have no effect on him. Garou then expresses excitement at how the fear that he strikes into people's hearts will change humanity, something that's been at the core of his goals all along. But Bang is unwilling to let this happen, but is warned by Blast that he will die. But that doesn't deter Bang, who says that Garou will have to kill him before he accomplishes his goals unhindered. Garou hesitates slightly at those words, remembering Tario and reflecting briefly on his attachment to Bang as he prepares to end him once and for all. Though he regrets that he'll never be able to see him again, he's convinced that the greater good demands he takes the losses, a sentiment that sounds more heroic than villainous at its core, until you consider what he actually thinks will bring about that greater good. But before we get into the state of the other heroes, don't forget to subscribe with notifications on to never miss an upload. And don't forget to smash that like button down below, as it does help out the video tremendously. But now back to the chapter. Meanwhile, Monoko sees her chance of escaping from the heroes, but she sadly doesn't make it because she is affected by the radiation just like the humans are. And while she's trying to escape, she comes across Tario lying face down on the broken cement. After what Garou said about being resolved to give up all of his attachments in order to be the symbol of fear, I'm beginning to wonder if seeing what his actions did to Tario would have even made Garou pause at this point. However, not everybody is affected by the radiation. Then Genos comes charging in to back up the remaining heroes. Garo quickly grabs him by the hair and remarks that it's impressive that Saitama was able to have an S-class hero as an apprentice. Now keep in mind, almost nobody knows that Genos was Saitama's disciple, so apparently Garo can read minds now. Honestly, I wouldn't put it past him. Attempting to save Genos, or maybe just trying to take advantage of Garo's distraction, Blast opens a portal trying to send him to another dimension, but the hit doesn't land. Blast is caught off guard when neither his portal nor his gravity knuckle punch do anything to slow him down either. He then tries to use 2 portals to shut Garo inside of another dimension, and right when he thinks that he's trapped him and won the battle, Garo reemerges from the extra dimensional space using Blast's own technique against him. Blast is utterly shocked to learn that Garo has mastered his technique in so little time, unleashing Blast's own gravity knuckle against him in combination with his nuclear fission technique for an absolutely deadly barrage. Blast is able to withstand this onslaught by sending his punches through multiple portals, but the portals can't take that much power, and they are about to burst from the overload of power. Knowing all of this, he realizes that he has to shift gears if he wants to protect the people nearby. He decides that he's going to prioritize portaling everyone out of the area instead of blocking Garo's attacks. At least a little bit impressed that any human has managed to endure the brutality of his attacks, Garo remarks that he can see why Blast is one of the top ranked heroes in the S-class. But that's not really high praise, as he then states that Blast isn't worth his attention right now. Damn. Even in the face of the Hero Association's absolute best, Garo has bigger fish to fry, like of course Saitama, who he's convinced wasn't giving Garo everything he had to offer in their previous confrontation. And what's easier to bring it all out than to absolutely destroy what matters most to him? Garo goes straight for the heart, and while Blast and Bang look on in horror, he rips Genos' core right out of his chest. Even though I don't believe for a minute that this death is actually permanent, it is definitely a brutal moment and does exactly what it needs to do. As the rain begins to fall, Saitama appears before Garo, clenching his fist as the rain mixes with his blood from his injuries. With blood running down his face, we are greeted by some of the greatest shots of Saitama that we've ever seen throughout the manga. Garo taunts Saitama for arriving too late to the scene, while Blast warns him to stay back, an order he does not pay attention to. Garo tosses Genos' core to Saitama like a baseball, and I know that I've been using this word a lot, but I don't think there's anything else that I could describe it except insanely brutal. A stone-faced Saitama then catches the core and gives it a good hard look, and then looks over Genos' mangled corpse on the ground beside him, remembering an occasion in which Genos had praised him for always being at the scene of a crime right on time. He then tells him that he's often too late. Saitama then questions if he has the instincts of a hero, and we cut to a shot of the remaining heroes lying on the ground in terrible condition. A barely conscious king is draped over the bodies of the unconscious Tatsumaki and Fubuki. Pig God is passed out besides Darkshine, and Flashy Flash is actually one of the better off heroes. Kneeling next to the unconscious Amai Mask, Woman Rider, Snick, and the 2 who found Waganma and Child Emperor passed out from the radiation earlier in the chapter are all lying unconscious in the bloodied rain. It's an incredibly dire scene that drives home how bad things have gotten in the One Punch Man universe. But let's go back to Saitama. He remarks that he really doesn't think that he has the heroic instinct after all, and in the next shot we see him, he looks absolutely ready to throw down. If Garo's goal was to piss him off until he went as hard as he can, then I can say, mission accomplished. He then winds up for his ultimate move, Serious Punch. But Garo, glowing with his cosmic power, counters with an attack of his own, and it's exactly the same as Saitama's. Using his Saitama mode, he's able to hit back with a Serious Punch of his own, which, wow. These two are truly going toe to toe, and I think that the look of utter shock on Blast's face at the massive release of energy from their dual attacks is probably how I looked when I saw this panel. Blast is horrified, convinced that this battle will quite literally take an earth-shattering turn and break the planet. Talk about overpowered much? There really is no way to raise the stakes any further than they already have been. Saitama is possibly in mortal danger for the first time in his hero career. The rest of the heroes are fighting for their lives against the radiation from Garo's nuclear attacks, and the Earth hangs itself in the balance of this fight. What more could we possibly risk? One Punch Man definitely likes to toy with tropes, and this chapter takes the ever popular heroes save the world trope to new staggering heights. because if they don't, or rather if Saitama doesn't, the planet itself might shatter. But I highly doubt that this is going to happen, since the trope implies that the world will somehow get saved in the end. But what makes this an interesting case though, is that Saitama can't prevent that just by beating Garo alone. He could easily release enough energy to destroy the whole entire planet. This makes me really wonder how he's going to handle this. I have no doubt that Genos' death will give him the motivation to smack Garo into next year, but if doing that requires him destroying everything, it's kinda obvious why he wouldn't consider that as a viable option. We all know that Garo needs to be stopped, but is it even possible without creating an even worse situation in the process? That's the key to this battle, and I, for one, will be anxiously waiting to see what Saitama does next. This has been an absolutely wild week for One Punch Man fans, and we'd love to hear your thoughts, theories, and even just key smashing field rants about how Genos deserved so much better in the comments section below. And I'm FoulPlayz, and if you're interested in what I do on my channel, go ahead and check the description down below. And without further ado, I'm FoulPlayz, and I'm out. Peace.